You know, you can either change and learn how to live a happy life with this mess, or you can sit there and feel sorry for yourself. But you know what? 5 years from now, if you're just sitting there feeling sorry for yourself, you're going to regret it. Trust me. Excuse me. I spent the first several years of my diagnosis, my original my original diagnosis. We've gone so far off the charts since then, but yeah, I spent a lot of time in a very deep depression because I didn't see any hope in my future. All I could see was more medical appointments and more medications and more pain, and there's not a lot to be optimistic about. But I'm fortunate, and I kind of got, I guess I got a little bit of a bug for personal growth. I'll be honest, I was never really that intentional about it. I just kind of stumbled my way into it, and I've grown a lot. But I've decided it's time to get intentional. So on a side note, this is a really good book. I've had this book for years. I've read it before, and the first time I read it, I was like, why am I reading this? I wasn't into it, but my goodness, I'm reading it again, and it is so much more fun now because I'm ready for it. I'm in that mindset. But one of the things that we've talked about in the book, just in chapter 1, was how we let fear stop us. So I thought this would be a good topic to bring up because, you know, as one of my mentors always says, what the hell are you so afraid of anyway? Most of us are not being chased by a bear. I probably have the best odds of anybody out there watching this of being chased by a bear. I live in Alaska and it's never happened. So mostly what we're afraid of is getting our ego hurt. Anyway, let's talk about 6 tips to help you face your fears. This information is from lifehack.org. Look, I know you've all heard it. Fear means 2 things. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. It's your choice. It really is, but I will tell you, running from it, you can't run from your problems, because wherever you end up, there you are. You're still going to have the same problems. You know what you're really afraid of? You're afraid of your own bullshit. You are. You need to keep a journal. You need to keep a journal because a lot of these things that you've built up as fears, a lot of this crap that you're allowing to hold you back, it's probably old. For a lot of us, it's probably really old. But you know what? Maybe it's not. Maybe something happened to you 6 months ago that really warped your perception of things. But you need to figure out when all this fear started. When, you know, think back to when you can first remember dealing with it. Figure it out. Of course, you're going to write it down. You always got to write it down. Because if you don't write it down, I mean, you're not really processing it. Next step to do with your journal is you need to figure out how these fears are holding you back. This one is really stupid, and I'm really ashamed to admit this, but I've confessed it before, but it's not something I'm at all proud of, and it makes me feel really sheepish. But you know, I'm a little afraid of, this sounds so ridiculous. Judge away. I'm a little bit afraid of being healthy. I know, isn't that crazy? But I have had these health issues for so long that it's just difficult. It's not that I would be afraid to be healthy. I'd freaking love to be healthy. But I have a hard time wrapping my mind around that. And that does, you know, in a bizarre way, this is comfortable. Look, your comfort zone, it doesn't mean that it's a good situation. It merely means that it's something familiar. This is familiar to me. I don't know, you know, who would I be without this? That sounds so freaking crazy. And I know there's so much more to my life. And what's funny is I just had this realization fairly recently, because I've always been the one telling people with health issues, don't let this become your identity. Don't let this become your identity. And gosh damn, here we are. I've kind of let it become my identity. But anyway, there's a lot of ways, obviously, that would be holding me back, right? But write it down. If you really want to work through your crap, you're going to have to write it down, and you're going to have to do the work. And you know what? This isn't easy. Most people don't ever take a look at themselves very closely because they don't always like what they see. But you can't fix a problem you won't face. Another tip to help you face your fears: borrow on past successes. You should journal these too. I used to have a counselor who I really liked this, and she's like, celebrate your wins, celebrate your small wins. So like with me and my health issues, if it's a rough day, like yesterday sucked, I was flaring so bad, and I don't even know why. It kind of came out of nowhere. But you know what? I got up, I pulled myself together. Now Sunday's my rest day, so I did not exercise, but I went to the grocery store, and I won. I won my day because I didn't sit here and feel sorry for myself all day. Now, it was a really rough day. I did feel a little sorry for myself, but I puttered around my kitchen. I got my teeth brushed. I got out my front door. I came home and immediately got pajamas back on, but that's okay. I still got stuff done. I had a lot of wins. Hell, I cooked dinner. That was the win. When I cook dinner, when I'm flaring, that's a huge win because I never want to cook when I don't feel good. Third tip, you got to lean into it. You got to lean into it because what is it you're so worried about? Maybe it's a confrontation with your kid's teacher. Maybe you got to have a really unpleasant conversation with a friend or a loved one. Do you know what? You need to just do it. You need to just lean into it and get it done, because the longer you put it off, the harder it's going to be. Chances are, no matter what the outcome is, chances are you're not going to die, and neither will the other person. And, barring that outcome, you can handle anything that comes your way. I promise you. Believe me, because if I can handle all the crap that has come my way, I know you can handle everything coming your way. There's going to be times when it's hard. Believe me, I understand that. But you know what? Action builds courage. So maybe you're not ready to have the confrontation with your friend or with your kid's teacher, but you can start reading articles, or you can move forward. You can start reading articles on how to have difficult conversations. You can, I'm sure you could watch YouTube videos on how to approach difficult topics. But there's something you can do to get ready for that besides just sit there and go, oh my God, this is horrible. It's going to suck. Because you know what? When you do that, yeah, you've just doomed it. No matter what the other person says or does, no matter how they respond, you've come into it with a bad attitude. So anyway, and a good example of leaning into it, I live in Alaska. We have more small planes per capita than anywhere else in the world. And until very recently, I had never gone up in a small plane. Why? Because I'm not a comfortable flyer. I'm claustrophobic. I'm afraid of heights. There's not a lot about flying in a commercial airline that appeals to me. Certainly not a little teeny tiny. But I had the opportunity to go up. So I said, I'm going to face this. And I got to tell you, granted, there's not a lot of room, so you couldn't really spread out anyway. But I seriously was like this the whole time, hanging on to the harness. And I had my phone, and I would take pictures, and then I'd go back to hanging on. But I tell you, it was a really freaking cool experience, and it was really neat to see like the foothills around Fairbanks from above. And it's a view I don't usually get. And certainly not being able to go like as low as we went by the river. It was a very cool trip. But you got to face your fears at some point. I would have missed out on a huge experience that really was transformative for me, because you know what? I can fly commercial airlines so much better now because I made it up and down in the little death trap. Another tip, tell your fears to shove it. Just flat out, quit worrying about being embarrassed. You know what you should be embarrassed about? You should be embarrassed if you don't try something. That is embarrassing. If you try it and okay, maybe you do fall flat on your ass. Okay. So now you know that whatever you did didn't work for you. Trying should never be embarrassing. Sitting on your ass and complaining and not lifting a finger to improve your situation, that should embarrass you. You need to learn to be okay with failure. You know why? Because it's an inevitable part of life. You're always going to have things that fail. It's just part of being a person. You can't get away from that. For goodness sakes, if you never tried again after you failed at something, you would have never learned how to walk. You wouldn't know how to talk. You sure as hell wouldn't know how to read, write. Sometimes you just got to go through the process of being really bad at something. And sometimes you got to accept that you're going to fail. It's life. What are you going to do? You can't just give up. You can't just give up, for goodness sakes. Failure's feedback. That's all it is. That's how you need to look at it. And you know what? If you embarrassed yourself, maybe you really embarrassed, maybe you literally busted your ass in front of a whole bunch of people on stage with a microphone in your hand. Well, you know what? First of all, they're always going to remember whatever you said. They'll remember the topic. They may not remember your exact words, but they will remember that night. But every single person that sees you do that, I guarantee you, they've embarrassed the hell out of themselves before too. It happens. You got to learn to roll with the punches on this stuff a little bit. Number 5, if you really want to face your fears, you need to help other people. You need to serve people. That's why I do these damn videos, because it helped me face my fear of what the hell am I going to do? What am I going to do with this health mess that I have in my lap? Well, how am I going to figure this out? So I just started trying to help other people. When I first started doing these, hell, even now, I think, okay, what would I want to hear? What would I have wanted to hear 15 plus years ago when I was first diagnosed? That's why I do it. I want to help people. I want to show other people that, you know what? Yeah, okay, this sucks. But so what? A lot of people have sucky things in their lives. It's what you decide to do with your life, whether you have health issues or not. That's what matters. If you help other people succeed, if you can take them along for your journey, it's going to make you feel so much better about yourself. You're going to be so much happier and more content. And I got to tell you, honestly, in a weird way, I mean, I don't make any money at this, but this serves my purpose. This is what makes me happy, because I get a lot of behind the scenes feedback from people. Hey, you know, I have a health issue. My friend has a health issue. My sister, my brother, my cousin, whatever. And what you said really resonated. That's helping others has made me able to cope with this so much better. It's like it kind of gives the pain a purpose, if that makes any sense. It either does or it doesn't, I guess. But anyway, number 6, the final tip on how to face your fears. Look, you've got to view life as an adventure, because it is. And you're not supposed to cross the finish line all perfect and tidy. You're supposed to skid across there with your hair a mess, and maybe you lost a shoe on the way, but you're supposed to have fun. We're only here once. Don't diminish yourself. Yes, life can be hard. Ask anybody with a chronic illness. Life can be hard. But you know what? Life is also beautiful and magical. You need to stay present. You need to breathe. Look, if you're not present, what is it? If you're worried, you're looking to the future. And if you're full of regret, you're looking to the past. Well, you can't change the past. And if you're worried about what you see in your future, get your shit together and change your direction in life. You can do it. Look, I went from being so severely depressed, I literally could not see any hope for my life. Now I'm known on Twitter of all the dumpster fires to be well known. I have a great attitude. I'm very positive. I'm pretty frank about what I deal with, but I rarely feel sorry for myself. Why? First of all, it doesn't change a gosh damn thing. And second of all, there's a lot of people out there who would love to trade places with me. I hurt. Okay, I hurt. Some days it's pretty bad. But I can still choose to get up and face my day. I can still choose to exercise. I can still choose to have a job. There's a lot of people out there who can't make those choices. You need to celebrate your life. You know, it sounds so petty. But really, when you are first getting started, look, if you don't celebrate the little things, like if you have health issues and you made the choice today to get up, maybe you didn't shower, but you brushed your teeth, you changed, and you made it out to the couch. I've had days when those are tremendous wins. Celebrate that shit. If you don't celebrate the little things, how much you going to celebrate yourself? Because the big things don't come along very often. You've got to celebrate your small wins. Did you stay with your fitness program? Did you stay with your nutrition program? Did you stay with your development reading? Did you stay with your Bible time? Whatever it is that you're trying to work on. Did you focus on it? Did you put time and attention to it? That's a win. Did you pull yourself together today and not hide under the covers? that's a win. You got to celebrate this stuff, especially if you're drowning in stress and pain and misery, because I know I've been there. And I know there's somebody out there watching this and thinking, F you. I get it. I would have thought the same thing, but I'm telling you, look, you need to recognize, even when things are tough and you don't feel like it, you're blessed. You are blessed. Look, worst case scenario, you probably have a roof over your head, don't you? You have running water, don't you? Probably have electricity. Those are 3 things that we take for granted that put you ahead of millions of people on this planet. That puts you ahead of a lot of people in my state. We have entire communities that aren't even on a road system. What kind of infrastructure do you think they have out on the tundra? Not very damn much, I can tell you. You've got to celebrate your life. You've got to be grateful. You've got to be generous. I don't mean with money, and really your money's the least of it. Be generous with your time. Be generous with your attention. That's what means something to people. Anyway, I'm getting kind of sidetracked. I have to go figure out what the heck I'm going to do about dinner. I have a tremendous headache, which is why the hat. But I will be back Wednesday at, I'm going to say 5 o'clock Alaska time, but I have a hair appointment and I have a lot of hair. And I think we're bringing the blonde up, which means I might not be on until 6. But just watch my Twitter feed. I'll try to keep you all updated. Look, if you have any questions about this, I'm not an expert, but I'd be more than happy to share with you some of the resources that have made a tremendous difference for me. And you know what? A lot of them are free, because when I first started down this path, I wasn't ready to make an investment in myself. I didn't believe in myself enough. So if that's where you're at, drop me a line at Alaskan Courtney. I know I can help you out. Have a great night. I'll see you Wednesday. Thanks.